Oh, come on, guys. I'm an adult. I watch adult movies and adult TV shows, alright? I don't have time for children's stuff. What? Chippendale? Rescue Rangers? Okay, press play. What's going on, everyone? James here with another real review, and today, yes, I'm reviewing Chippendale Rescue Rangers. A huge thank you to Disney Plus for giving me the chance to watch this early for review. It releases on Disney Plus exclusively May 20th, so when you see it, let me know down below in the comments what you thought of this movie. It is a clean hour and about 36 minutes, and you know what? I have some good things to say about this one. It's directed by Akiva Schaffer and it stars John Mulaney, who voices Chip, Andy Samberg, who voices Dale, and Kiki Layne, who plays Ellie. Now, the movie really is kind of like a comeback, not really a reboot. It is 30 years in the making, you guys, and Chippendale Rescue Rangers catches up with our two favorite chipmunks as they go on another adventure to figure out who's been taking their friends and rebooting these characters. So yeah, there's a lot of self-aware commentary here. Now, before we get into my review, though, and I tell you what worked for me and a few things that didn't work too well, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I love talking about movies and TV just like this. So if you do too, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on the bell, and hit the thumbs up button again if you are a big fan of Chippendale, just like myself. Yeah, nostalgia slapped me in the face. And let me know down below, are you Team Chip? Or are you Team Dale? I might be Team Dale. I don't know. Alrighty, y'all. So you know what? Let's waste no more time and let's get right into the positives here. And it begins with this. The film is the escape I didn't know I needed this summer. This reminded me of a really well done Saturday morning cartoon. You know, growing up, I loved Nickelodeon and Disney, but I will tell you that Chip and Dale, they were a couple characters that always sort of found their way into some of those more fond memories of television, and I do love what they did with the characters here. You have Chip, who is, well, kind of a curmudgeon at this point in his life, and he is just stuck. You know, he's got him, it's his dog, and he's got a job selling life insurance, and he is the 2D cartoon character version of Chip. And then you have Dale, who is trying to really reclaim his youth, and he is the computer animated version of Dale. So it is neat to see how they crossed both 2D and animation, and it really worked for me. But that's not all. The rest of this world is also playing with both 2D characters, computer animated characters, and live action. Think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just with a bigger budget and the modern technology that we have now, and that's what you kind of get here. And I really love the approach where there's so many Easter eggs in the background. Heck, there's so much happening in the background that I need to go back and rewatch this movie just to catch some of these different references. But there are also some excellent cameos here, and none of it feels just like pop culture the movie. It is actually serving a purpose. Now, there are some cameos that I can't talk about, but let's just say when you see them, you might fall over in laughter. I know I did. They even reference movies outside of Disney. Yes, they touch on a certain superhero film, and it just made me cackle. I haven't laughed this much in a film in a little while. And I have to give props to director Akiva Schaffer for understanding their audience. Not only does this movie cater to children in some good ways and some ways that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but this movie understands that yes, this is going to be at its core a children's film, but it is going to also have elements that pander to adults, because there are references here that most kids won't get. They won't understand some of the jokes that are being made, but for me, I was laughing at a lot of the stuff that I was seeing, whether it be a split-second image of a billboard, or it could just be a reference to a character in animation. Boy, it just covers it all. And if you're wondering, yes, this movie represents animation both in 2D and in computer animation, and there's even an anime reference here. So what the heck, guys, this is really good. Oh yes, and there are some adult animated series that they touch on here, but you know, the kids won't get that. And of course, when it comes to our cast, this is a pretty large ensemble. Our two leads, John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, do a pretty good job here, I would say. For the most part, I enjoyed what they brought to both of the characters. However, I did feel like the supporting cast was actually better than our two leads here. Now, that doesn't mean our two leads were bad, it's just that, dang it, the supporting cast is excellent. Kiki Layne does a very good job as Ellie, and I think a lot of kids are going to really warm up to her character because they're going to see the film through her eyes in a way. And I loved J.K. Simmons as Captain Putty, Eric Bana as Monty even. There are so many names here. Heck, Seth Rogen is in this film in many more ways than one. But I loved exactly how the supporting cast was just so solid. This is maybe one of the best casts, both voice and acting, that I've seen in a little while now. There's even even a scene where everything really comes together. It's called FanCon, this comic convention sequence, where I loved everything that they were putting on display. And this movie really does just build up to moments where kids are going to fall over in laughter, I'd imagine. And also, me as an adult, I was laughing along with it. And I even had this thought that just kept recurring in my head where I said to myself, man, I'm just enjoying my time with this light-hearted film that I know isn't going to get out there and like be nominated for Oscars, but it doesn't have to be a good film. And that's exactly what it is. It's a good movie. And the writers here do not pull punches when it comes to certain characters that have either been popularized for a good reason or a bad reason. I'll just say this. There's a live action adaptation of a Broadway play. It's a movie, I'm sure you've seen it, that finds their way into this. And also, one character that I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you that when it happened, when that moment occurred, I almost choked on my spit. I was laughing so hard because it was so unexpected. But that's this movie in a nutshell. It's unexpectedly good. And this movie at its core has a pretty darn good message. Chip is a character that represents a lot of adults nowadays, where they wag their finger at those who still enjoy cartoons, and they say, well, you know what, you should be spending your time outside, or file your taxes, things like that. But when it comes to Dale, he is that youthful spirit that the movie really embodies. And I think it's nice that they both grow and learn from one another, because both of them can learn something very valuable from the other. And that's what this movie does by the end. And I really think that they hit home the message, and it takes a little long to get there, but boy, it is just so rewarding by the end. Now let's get into the negatives, guys, and I'm not trying to be too pessimistic. I know this movie is for kids, so I'm not going to be harsh on it, but there are a few areas of this film where I felt like it might have been lacking, and it begins with the pacing towards the middle and right at the end, because in the middle of the movie it did feel sluggish. The story isn't as strong because it can't be as layered. Children probably have to just pay attention and they will think it's complex, but for me it was a little bit boring at times, and at the end it almost felt like that sequence was lingering a little long, especially for the kind of movie that this is. It just took a little while to complete and get to the end, and I thought, okay, at one point maybe they could have rushed it along a little bit faster, but it got there, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but I definitely felt the length just a little bit at the end there. And for as much as I like John Mulaney and Andy Samberg here, because I felt like they served the purposes of their characters pretty well, I did think they felt flat sometimes. There were many moments where I thought, man, John Mulaney's just not really nailing home a lot of the emotion here, and Andy Samberg definitely, you could tell, was trying to do his Andy Samberg kind of humor, that brand of humor, and it just wasn't fitting here because he was holding back just a little bit. So both of them, I'm not saying they were miscast, but I just think that up against their supporting actors, you can tell that the supporting cast was overshadowing our leads by a lot in this movie. I mean, heck, even Eric Bana, who's barely in the film, he does an amazing job, and he's so vibrant and full of life. And I feel like John Mulaney and Andy Samberg maybe were a little reserved, and it doesn't always help the film. But overall, you guys, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is one of the biggest surprises of the year. It's a delightful film, and it really did put a smile on my face, and I can't say that about a lot of movies this year, but I can say that about this one. From start to finish, it is a ride full of nostalgia, emotion at times, and a lot of Easter eggs that will always keep your eyes glued to the screen. If you blink once, you're going to miss something, but there is a rewatchability factor here with this film. Yes, the story is pretty elementary, and I don't think that all of the voice acting was strong 100% of the time, but this film really does nail it. There's a tone here that the film just understands, hey, we're not going to be bigger than we're supposed to be, and we're just going to excel at what we're going to be. And man, does this movie really just work for me on many levels. So Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is a film that I recommend even if you're an adult. I can't wait to watch this movie, hopefully be able to watch this with my girlfriend one day, because it is one of those films where we can harken back to our childhood and then go ahead and say, you know what, let's dive into this and just relive it all over again. So Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, I can't believe I'm saying this because it wasn't a film on my radar this year. This film is darn good. So there you have it, you guys. That's my real review of Rescue Rangers. Again, it is on Disney Plus May 20th. So when you see it, let me know down below which moment was your favorite, which cameo was your favorite, and let's talk about this movie. And if you haven't already, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and if you don't, Chip 'n Dale will be mad at you, and you don't want to make Chip 'n Dale mad. Trust me. Guys, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. And man, I want to go back and rewatch the series again. Is that bad? Do I have time? What time is it now? Oh, I do not have time. Okay.